issue. The only interaction needed for this robot to work is a voice command which will be given through a smartphone. So how this robot works is it uses Bluetooth method for communication, which is speech recognition, and the need for accurately controlling a robot is always increasing in every industry. So in this project, the car can move in 4 possible directions, which is moving forward, backward, turning left and right, and it can stop when it senses an obstacle. So for the problem statement, we have yet to acknowledge issues such as people who have difficulties in driving. Some examples are disabled people and also older citizens who cannot experience the freedom of traveling in a car. So the aim of the project is to allow users to control the robotic vehicle remotely by voice command, which works as a prototype of a normal car in a smaller scale. So for the scope of study, we have that the movement of the proposed robot will be controlled by voice command from the user. The user will use Android operator smartphone to give voice command. The command will be fetched using an app which will convert all this voice command into text, and the phone will be connected to the microcontroller using Bluetooth module as a bridge. So after the conversion of command into text, the app will send the data to the Bluetooth module in the microcontroller. Then according to the command, the robot will move in either direction given, and the robot will be controlled using 4 geared DC motors with grip tire attached to it. There's also ultrasonic sensor and IR sensor will be employed for obstacle detection in the robot. So the Arduino Uno will send signals according to the reading of the ultrasonic sensor to provide data for any obstacle that is in the front and also the back of the robot. There will also be a command for stopping the robot at instant. So now for objectives, we have that to model a robotic car remotely by voice commands through a smartphone app, to develop a code writing of a robotic car which moves the robot forward, backwards, turn left or right, and then there's to implement coordination of robotic car control unit with the Bluetooth gadget and wireless system. And for the research question, we have that to describe the possible challenges that can be encountered during the modeling of the voice control robot, and to explain other improvements applicable to enhance the voice control robot. Now for the hypothesis, more factors can be sensed and tracked with the sensors of voice control robots to improve the efficiency of controlling the voice control robot. So speech recognition of the robot can be seen as the robot will be using text to speech conversion, and it will be responding by moving in all the direction given. So for this entire voice control robot is designed to be made in a small scale to make it portable. The voice control robot can be used in many types of places such as industrial and military applications and much more. So now for the literature review, we have 5. So for the first one here, we have is voice activation and control to improve human-robot interaction with IoT perspectives, which is done by Error et al., which is from 2018. And then we have Arduino-based voice control robot vehicle, which is done by SAROUSHEN in 2020. We also have SHALINI and the others for 2018 with the topic of voice recognition robot control using Android device. And then we have Takahashi and Mizushi from 2017 operating a robot by non-verbal voices based on ranges of formats. Then for the final one here we have is a voice control platform of mobile robot through ROS, which means Robot Operating System, by Ye from 2019. So the closest project here which is similar to mine is SAROUSHEN, which is Arduino based voice control robot vehicle. So the variable studied here is the robot vehicle which can be controlled by the voice command of a person. So the equipment he used is chassis, gear motors, wheels, HC05 Bluetooth, L298 motor driver, and Arduino Uno. So the important finding here is automatic speech recognition to computer speech recognition is done here using ASR to STT. The limitation here is the robot vehicle does not include an obstacle detection, which can lead to other problems. Like if the robot hits something, it will just keep on moving, or it can fall off from certain places. So the application area for this robot is it can be used in mobile robot computing and also speech recognitions of robots. So for the flowchart here, we have how the robot works. It first detects the voice command, and then if the voice command is moved forward, it will check for is there any obstacle in front of it or not with the ultrasonic sensor which is placed at the front. So if there is obstacle, uh, it will stop. But if there's no obstacle, it will move forward and will wait for the next command given. So this process repeats a few times until each voice command is given until it ends. So it applies for moving backward, turn right, and also for turning left. Next, we have the circuit diagram here with all the equipments that we've been using. So the first one is ultrasonic sensor, the servo motor, Bluetooth module, IR sensor, and the L293D motor driver, and also the TT motors. Now for the discussion, the developed robot can move in any direction according to the voice command which will be received from the user by the Android phone and the Bluetooth. The voice command has able to control the robot to move in the four possible directions, which is forward, backward, left, and also right. And the robot can stop when the IR and ultrasonic sensor detects an obstacle. The developed robot can also has the ability to interact with its user using the human voice. So the developed device uses speech recognition, human voice sound to communicate with user, but artificial intelligence can be implemented for interaction purpose so that the robot will be more likely to interact more appropriately by analyzing and testing the environment of the user's behavior. So through the design and implementation of the proposed system, the robot can be controlled using voice command given by the user who is actually using the app, and these voice commands need to be given through an Android app which is installed on the user's Android mobile. So speech recognition is done within the Android app, and then the respective command is sent to the voice control robot vehicle. The microcontroller fitted on the vehicle will decode all these commands given, and it will give an appropriate output by moving all the motors. So for the preliminary data, we have the cost, the total project. Here we have TT gear motors. For the hardware part, we have TT gear motors, jumper cables, body frame, Arduino Uno, rubber wheel, motor driver, ultrasonic sensor, IR sensor, battery holder, and also the batteries, and finally the Bluetooth module. And then for the software part is Arduino IDE and also the Arduino Bluetooth controller, which is the app to control the robot. So for hardware, is the total cost of it is 79 ringgit and 30 cents, while for the software is free because it can be taken from online. Now for the Gantt chart here, we have the total timeline for the project. So currently we are completed until June, and we are now currently in July. And the future work here we have that have not been done, which will be continued in FYP2. So finally, for conclusion, this project proposes the study and also the literature review of the voice control robot, which will be controlled using utilizing the Bluetooth technology. The voice controlling orders are transmitted through the Bluetooth, and the desired activities happen with the help of speech recognition. So disabled people and also the older citizens can finally experience the freedom of traveling in a car by themselves through this project, when the project scale is significantly increased. It can also lessen the human endeavors at spots or circumstances where the human interactions are troublesome. So that's all from my project. Thank you very much. Ms. BRANDONIC Andrew.
Okay, thank you very much, Aaron. So now we open for Q&A from Dr. Rohila Saha.
Hello. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Miss.
How are you?
I'm good, Miss.
Good. Okay. Um, okay, we go for your presentation first. So, can you
Share screen now.
just now you have mentioned about the literature review that you are referring to the main. I mean, your main reference is Saravanan, right?
Yes, Miss.
The researcher. What is the objective of the work? His work.
The objective of this work was to also is mostly similar to mine, Miss, because he's doing to make a robot which
Uh,
can uses HC05 Bluetooth to for Bluetooth communication, and it has ultrasonic sensor and IR sensor also
why
to
why
detect.
why why he developed the robot using the voice. Why?
Uh, he developed the robot to it was the same is to
That's say what I want know what the reason that he come up with the proposed idea to come up with the robotic with the robot
he,
because
he
so,
yes, miss.
uh, because Aaron, because I still cannot get your problem statement. I still cannot relate your problem statement with your objective. Like, that's why
Okay.
I'm asking.
uh,
Can you look into your problem statement?
I need to edit my problem statement, miss.
Problem statement. Your problem statement slides.
Okay.
The slide.
Aaron, can you share your slide, please?
I can sir, can sir. uh, can you see, miss?
Yes. Okay, which one is your problem here now? The problem statements. Which one?
The problem statement I given here is to help people who have disabled or also the older citizens
So how
to since
uh,
yes, miss.
do you relate this problem statement to your objective of your study?
Miss, basically, I'm making a prototype of a normal car, miss, which works, which functions with the use of Bluetooth and speech recognition. So I wanted to basically make a prototype car, so that if this when the scale is like increased, I can actually people can actually use it in to travel to other places and all. So I wanted to also use like um, what an app to control the car, so it's easier for others. Miss.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking. I'm digesting.
Okay, miss.
Okay. Because you didn't mention in your report. That's
About what, miss? Is
you
it
didn't
the
mention
object?
in the report. You didn't mention in the report actually. That's why I'm asking. And then
Oh,
there's no like evidence to support your problem statements here. Evidence here, which means you have to cite with other people, other previous works.
yes, miss.
Yeah, that is how you can provide the evidence lah. And then for the objective,
Yes,
um,
miss.
I want you rephrase for the second one to develop a code writing program code. You mean?
Basically make the coding of the robot, which
Program.
so it can.
Yeah, replace that
So,
one.
uh, wait, miss. Yeah, yes, miss. What was the question again?
Maybe you can rephrase the code
The
writing to
second one.
code right second one. And then
Uh,
number one, to model a robotic car remotely by voice commands through a smartphone apps. Okay, that one okay.
yes, miss. Actually, I simplified the thing. I think it got lost in translation. Miss. I wanted to say that to make a robot car that can work using a smartphone.
Okay. 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 So far, your presentation okay. Only thing is your report lah. Your report. In your report for your literature part, you have to divide your literature review in subtopics, and then you have to explain or you have to elaborate the previous works. Not only you paste the table here, yeah. I don't know now your formatting how, but before
I need to explain more on the literature review, miss.
yes, especially the main that you are referring to, the main reference, Saravanan, right? You have to.
Yes. Okay.
And then one thing for the report writing is the common practice. Yeah, you have to explain before you paste any table or any figure. You
Okay,
have to
miss.
provide the explanation or the description first, and then you paste the table or figure. That's the common writing technique.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, miss.
that
Yes,
one you
miss.
can practice later lah. That one, okay. Yeah. And then here your literature review all relevant, no problem. Only the matter here you have to explain before you paste the table.
Okay, miss.
Then in the explanation, perhaps you can critically comment, especially on the objective and the finding and the limitation of the previous works. So that on that,
So you,
uh,
so basically we have to put like the objective and also like their findings inside
yeah,
the table, miss. Yes.
you may explain lah. You may explain before you place the table. The table actually is good. But
Okay,
no,
miss.
we place the table after at the end of the literature review chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, miss.
In your case, I can see for the literature review, perhaps you can start with the robot of voice recognition. You may subtopic, may do the
Oh,
subtopic literature review.
okay, miss.
Yeah.
Yes, miss.
What else? Okay, methodology. The methodology part. Method. Yeah, let me scroll. Okay, for methodology,
Yes,
mm,
miss.
for the introduction, for the first chapter, first subchapter in chapter 3, methodology, you have to explain your flow chart of your research project, not explaining what component that you are using. The component
Oh,
later, I mean,
yes,
component
miss.
at the end of the chapter. You have to mention first what is your proposed methodology, and then you have to explain because I noticed some of you didn't explain. Just paste the figure. Don't
Oh,
expect the examiner can understand, yeah, because this is your
uh,
project. You have to
yes, miss.
clearly explain to us, describe to us.
No, okay, miss.
Yeah. After you explain the flow chart of your research or your proposed method, then you can come up with the
Include the
components you're
components.
using. Yes. That's the
Okay, miss.
flow from the big and then you go to the small one, the small part.
No, okay, miss.
Yeah. What else? Chapter 4, the result analysis of developed robot. That one results from your own experiment or how?
It's not from my own experience, miss. So that one I took it from another PDF, but it's basically just showing what will happen when the input is given, like for moving forward and all.
It's like manual.
Uh, what is that, miss?
Manual, is that manual?
Yeah, it's
Manual
manual.
for the L293D.
Yeah.
Then you have to cite if you took up from somewhere because this is
Oh,
the result. So you have to cite that paper or
yes,
that
miss.
manual.
Okay, miss.
Yeah. What else? I think that's all. Okay, that's all okay. Only for the Gantt chart lah. Better you refer to my comments in your thesis report, yeah.
Okay,
Others
Miss. Can Miss?
okay. Others okay, Aaron.
Okay, Miss. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, Miss. Thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you, Dr. Rohila. Okay, Aaron, please take note all the notes from her. So you need to do the correction after this. Okay, next we move to the next presenter is Rashmika. Are you ready, Rashmika?
Yes, I am. Good evening. My name is RASHMIKA and PERERA, fourth year computer engineering student. This is my final year project, one final presentation for design and model of drone guided self-deployable unmanned surface lifeguard robot using Arduino and Raspberry Pi. Uh, this presentation contains the basic summary of my report of research. So this will contain graphical abstract, research background, literature review, methodology, Gantt chart, and budget. Um, so basically, the graphical abstract represents the summary of the whole project, the whole aspect of the project that I'm planning to carry out. So as a solution to increasing of drowning accidents and deaths happening around the globe, this research tends to invent a drone guided deployable unmanned surface vehicle with the help of Arduino and Raspberry Pi. This is the project that I'm going to cover from this research report and the presentation. So this is the block diagrams and the related articles, reference images that I've been used. Um, in introduction, I have covered the area of what is the problem being addressed by the research and what are the drawbacks of existing solutions to overcome. So in my research, I have come across that the drowning is the third leading cause of unintentional injuries or deaths in the world. That gives me a huge room and huge demand for this type of solution to be addressed. So existing safety measurements to avoid drowning and risk factors of using the humans as lifeguards and design and developing a system that can overcome those risk factors and drawbacks are the main points of my introductions. Um, as we know, currently the human lifeguards are being used in water related activities areas uh, for the safety measurements, but there are some drawbacks on this. This research is tend to uh, talk about these kind of aspects. In the problem statement, according to observation, employing one or many lifeguards to oversee activities in water sport venues do not completely help to put an end drowning, because these situations not happening only in the water sports venues, but when it comes to the natural phenomena such as tsunami, flood, and etc. It is a huge risk to use human lifeguards to save another human, because it eventually it will put both of their lives in danger. Another thing that I'm trying to address here is using lifeguards on water sports areas such as beaches. So the problem of this is when you are looking at the sea from the beach, you will only have a 2D vision. So it's really hard to identify objects or drowning objects or any kind of things that you want to be seen clear from the beach. So therefore, that's why I have combined two devices such as USV, unmanned surface vehicle, and drone, which is an surveillance device. So the USV will act as the lifeguard, which can deploy a life buoy when it comes to the object or the drowning person, and the drone will be the third eye of this process by going above the sky, and let the user or the USV decide which object they should go into. So in my research background, there are 4 areas I have covered. In the hypothesis, I have identified that drone can be used in a manner plug and play, because this device should be able to being used by a non-technical person. That means anyone with the uh, common knowledge of using a mobile phone or such kind of remote device should be able to use this to save a life. That is the primary goal here. So in order to overcome this, I have come up with 4 objectives, basically to design and develop RC guided drone with camera which has enabled GPS, to design and develop drone guided raft which can carry life buoy as a floating device, to design and develop a life buoy that can inflate at the deployment using controller or the drone's command. So this life buoy should be able to deployed by the command of the user or by the command of the drone in the sky. So to build all-in-one communication system for the drone, USV, and deployment mechanisms. So even if you develop these 3 devices, but the main objective should be that these 3 devices should be able to communicate between one communication channel. A scope of study, the key target is to build unmanned lifeguard study a system which perform under critical conditions when a human lifeguard could not or should not respond immediately. And research questions, I have identified 4 research questions. How does the USV work on the sea? What is the mechanism used to deploy lifebuoy through USV? And how possible can the monitored USV replace human lifeguard? And how the USV and the drone should be able to communicate in through single channel. So in my literature review, I have used 28 papers and presented 5 in the presentation due to the time limitation. So here, these are my 5 main research papers. In here, I have used the design of navigation guidance and control system for unmanned surface vehicle or for environmental monitoring. This supports usage of USV on water related activities, and design methodology of USV in twin hull system, which is very helpful for me to understand what are the difficulties of building USVs that can face those kind of critical situations. This is a very important research paper that I come across. In my methodology, I have identified 3 main aspects that I have to cover and get areas of expertise. One is electrical engineering for electrical parts of all the devices, and mechanical engineering part, and the software engineering part, obviously for automation. And the raft, I should be able to build with 2 modes, what is autonomous navigation and manual navigation, and drone should be able to navigate according to waypoints and guide USV, and remote navigation if you want to control manually. So these things are explained here. The unmanned surface vehicle should be able to receive GPS coordinates, and should be able to be autonomous if it is necessary. So all these methodology areas being covered with these 3 areas of expertise. So overall system, the block diagram of the whole system is represented here, as well as a block diagram of the drone and block diagram of the communication control system between drone, USV, and the deployable mechanism. And the graphical diagram of the drone with the devices that I'm planning to use, and the USV block diagram and the USV graphical diagram. And this is my Gantt chart. So for the activity plan for FIP1, I have completed up to the final FIP1 report submission, and this will conclude my FIP report submission, as this will be the final presentation. And since I have covered a very big area of this topic, I think the activities plan for my FIP2, which is like implementation and development, unit testing, and those can be easily done due to this successful completion of this research. Uh, at last, I have mentioned my budget that this is a roughly estimated budget for all these devices, and this won't be the final budget, but this is the expected components that I'm planning to use. So far, this is the total budget. Uh, Again, thanks to this existing research paper, I'll be able to go for the FIP2 without having any major changes in my FIP2 plan. So thank you very much. This concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you, Rashmika. So, Dr. Fatima.
Okay, hi Rashmika. Hello everyone. I have one question first. So, okay, how do you determine whether your project is at the end of your project? How do you determine that your project is successful?
I mean, my research is success, yeah?
Yeah, later on in FYP2. How do you measure that?
If I successfully achieve my objectives, then I can determine that I have successfully finished my project.
Okay, so what are your objectives?
My objective is to design and develop a USV that can deploy a lifebuoy, and design and develop a drone that can guide the USV, and design and develop a communication system for all these three devices to save a drowning object or person in a critical situation.
Okay, so that means you should have a working drone that can do all that by the end of FYP2.
Yeah,
Am I right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, then how do you measure whether it can fly, whether it can deploy the life buoy, is it?
Yeah.
So you want to measure all that during FYP2.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference between yours and the current solution, the current drone that is used for life saving?
Okay, so I have come across so many articles about this. So the one major difference is like there are existing solutions that used in this field. Something is USV, that is only a raft. It can be guided using a remote control and go to a place and deploy a life buoy. And another solution is have a drone with onboard life buoy that can go to a place and deploy a life buoy from the air. But the difference is like if it is a USV only, then it will have the 2D vision, so it will still face the problem of using lifeguards in the beaches. So if you're using the drone, the major drawback is the amount of the weight that you can carry is limited. So imagine there's a wave current in the sea, so the so many people are facing so many people are in distress, so the waypoints, the number of waypoints that the drone can go and deploy lifebuoys are limited, and it will be very costly. So combination of these two, by giving the drone the vision power, and the USV is the payload carrying power, is overcoming all these difficulties I mentioned from the existing projects.
Okay, looking at your objectives, in my opinion, it's too broad. It's too many and it's too broad, and it's actually very general. Okay, in FYP1, what you need to do is you identify the improvement that you can do. Okay, it can be very small. It can be very small, but in the end, you can say that you have achieved this. You have some measurement that you can show that your research has successful. Okay, but in your case, okay, let's say you buy all the parts that you showed just now, and then you assemble, right? And then after you assemble, it can fly. and then it can do things. It can deploy the life buoy and whatnot.
Yeah.
But how do you actually saying that this is an improvement to the current solution? You need to be able
Because
to measure, right? You need to be able to okay, for example,
Yeah.
you were saying about the camera, right? Okay.
yeah,
Let's say the current solution, they cannot they cannot classify, for example, okay, they cannot classify between fish and human. Okay, so what is the improvement that you can do on this? It's just a one small part, but it's something that you can measure. Understand?
Yeah. So I understand your question. So in this in this project, I'm not trying to address that like something like that, because it's the in the sea, it's a large area, so it's really hard to use. I know your point. You're coming to the computer vision or some kind of solution like that, but it's really hard to identify objects in that sense in the sea. Especially when it's come to a scenario like a draft or tsunami or some kind of natural phenomenon. So what I'm giving is the power to the controlling person to identify and mark waypoints. That's why I said it's waypoint navigation. So one person will be there monitoring the whole system. Like that person can be non-technical person who just happen to use a mobile application as the as if he's playing a video game or something like that. So he can monitor through the camera and mark the waypoints. Then the USV will go to that places. So this is not to overcome like the existing vision problems, just to identify objects, or those are small classifications in my opinion, because like we can use OpenCV or such kind of libraries to do that. But in the real world, when you're addressing this problem, it's really hard to achieve those kind of things. So that's why I'm not focusing on that small areas such as computer vision.
Okay, I understand, but
Yeah.
you need to have something that you can in the end you can measure. Okay, for example, what can you come out with in the end in FYP2, what table that you can come out to show your result?
So if the drone can if we can navigate the drone to a location in a sea or water area or wherever, then if we can guide the USV through the drone, and if it achieves these expected outcomes, then I can conclude that it's achieving the expected results.
Okay, for engineering, usually you will have in your result section,
Yeah.
you will have results on your on okay, for example, here you have prototype, right? You need to have results on your prototype which you can actually present it. Okay, for example, okay, usually FYP is very simple. Okay, for example, the comparison between um, power reduction, for example. Yesterday I just have some power reduction from FYP2.
Okay.
Those you can see how successful is your what is it, is your prototype of your research. Okay, but for this one, because I've mentioned this during the first presentation, I've mentioned that you have too many
Objectives to achieve.
objectives and too
Yeah.
broad, and it's too general. Okay, something that it can be a problem in FYP2, because during FYP1 you need to do the study. Okay, so this should be like a storytelling. Okay,
Okay,
first
so
you
excuse me.
study
Yeah.
on this. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't understand why this point being like that I have to reduce my objectives. Like if I'm capable of doing, I think I mentioned that earlier as well. Like if I'm capable of doing and if I'm capable of meeting my objectives, then there shouldn't be a problem, right?
Um, that's why, because in FYP you only have very limited time.
Yeah, I know.
But it's up to you, because I've seen some projects that got stuck
Yeah,
in the
understand.
middle. That's why in FYP1 you really need to narrow down your objective. By the end of FYP1 you need to you will know the direction of your research, and the possible results of your research.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
understood.
hold on,
Yeah.
Okay, scope of study. So I'm looking at your thesis right now.
Yeah.
You have mechanical engineering designing of the drone and USV. Okay, so is this actually designing a drone, or do you use just an existing one? You buy parts and then you assemble.
Oh no, like I was planning on 3D printing the frame by myself and like building from the scratch. But like we can buy the existing drone frames and design by myself. Like even the programming part will be done by me.
Okay, so that means okay, so in the designing of let's say in the scope of mechanical engineering, so you will have um, some design process, is it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so that can be in the result also.
Yeah. Okay.
But if it's just buying the parts and then assemble, then you can't really show anything in the result.
Yeah. So I'm not buying parts. Like I'm buying the components and designing my own drone.
Okay, for the software engineering, on the scope of software engineering,
Yeah.
so you might want to say which algorithm that you will use, or is it that you which algorithm that will use is just do you use some AI on this?
Oh yeah. I have mentioned about machine learning and deep learning as well.
Okay, so you need to have a specific algorithm on this in your report.
Okay, so if I have one this so this is FIP1 is basically research, right? So if since I have not concluded what technology I'm going to use, I can't come up with the like exact framework or exact algorithm that I'm going to use. That's why I have like a scope of like different areas. Maybe it can be OpenCV, maybe it can be a neural network or different any other framework. So it depends on my results.
Okay, no, I'm saying the algorithm. I mean, which algorithm that you will use. Um,
For
for
which one?
example, okay, let's say image detection. So
Mhm.
you will focus on image detection. So what maybe platform you can decide later.
Okay.
But here,
Hmm.
maybe you want to you want to specify, okay, this will be image classification, for example. So you already have an idea of where to go. Understand?
Yeah, but the reason I didn't mention specifically because it can be TensorFlow, it can be OpenCV or any other thing. It depends on my requirement and the components that I'm going to use. So that's why I can't specifically say just because this is a research for now. Yeah, but
Un-
understand your point. Yeah. Hello.
Hold on, I'm
Yeah.
scrolling your
Sure.
thesis. Okay, I think that's all from me.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Fatima. All right, so next we move on to solution. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Can't hear.
No, that's the thing. Sir, we can't hear the sound.
Ah, can't hear you.
Sir, can you unmute or something? Hello, sir.
Yes, any issue?
Sir, we can't hear the sound.
Can't hear.
Okay.
Zanuddin. So today I'll be presenting
Is it okay now?
Yes, yes.
my FYP1 final CNC from program statement review the conclusion. This is a graphical abstract. So this project deals with the design and development of a CNC cutting machine, which we powered using Arduino. So the machine is designed to cut mainly a foam, but it can also cut soft materials such as plastic, soft rubber. A resistance wire will be used to cut materials. And also with this machine, we intend to be able to create objects such as 3D objects or 2D objects. So as you can see here is a block diagram. So the CNC shield will be connected to the Arduino Uno, which will turn the board into a CNC controller to be able to control the stepper motors. In terms of problem statement, so as you can see, the proposed system has only 3 axes, so basically only limited types of end product can be obtained. As will be the use of resistance wire, which will be attached with some springs, I must say. So the wire will get heated, and also the spring will get heated. So this will result in the spring to lose their elasticity quite often, which will result in more costs because we have to replace them quite often. So lastly, the GOLB has to be amended every time based on the end product which we want to achieve. In terms of objectives, of course, we want to design and develop a CNC machine. I want to be able to construct the 3D model using AutoCAD software, to connect all the components together to the Arduino board, to control and measure the temperature using the stepper drivers, DC to DC converter, and temperature sensor, to input and execute the code in the Arduino board. In terms of hypothesis, the voltage here will be the independent variable. So using the DC to DC converter, the voltage will be varied, which will thus increase or decrease the temperature accordingly as current be flowing free. So for this reason, in terms of hypothesis, we can say the voltage will be the independent variable. The temperature and the current will be both set as the dependent variable. Okay? And also the resistance will be kept constant. In terms of research questions, so calculate the amount of voltage which will be required to reach optimal temperature to provide a good cutting of a flow material. How to program the stepper driver and DC to DC converter so we can control the temperature and of the resistant wire. How to program the G-code to be able to obtain more complex designs such as 3D objects. How to prevent the spring from losing its elasticity. This is the literature review. So in terms of literature review, in this thesis, I computed 30 literature reviews. But for this presentation, I selected the 5 best one. And the one which attracted me the most, I must say, is the third one, which is the design and development of a wire cutter CNC for styrofoam products. So the aim of this our research was to create a styrofoam cutting machine, which has a 2-axis wire cutter to be able to cut the material according to the design. So here, the limitation of our study was that the machine contained only 2 axes. So limited types of design can be obtained. And the application area is in the area of styrofoam cuttings for, obviously, CNC. So this is the 4th and the 5th literature review. So as I said, 5 best literature reviews has been chosen for this presentation. In terms of methodology, this project will be designed in 4 stages. We already mentioned the objectives before. So now, as you can see, the first stage will be to design the CAD model, using AutoCAD software such as Fusion 360, design the circuit using the software. And the second stage will be to be able to list all the components, get all the measurements of components. And the third stage will be to be able to assemble all those components together and also build the circuits. And the fourth stage will be the testing. The testing process will be done to be able to try cut the material and get the shape. In terms of preliminary result, in terms of what has been achieved, this is one of the objectives has already been achieved in FYP1. As you can see here, is a CAD model, is an isometric view of a CNC machine, but I'm proposing which has been designed using the Fusion 360 software. As we can see, a blue part here, those parts will be printed using a 3D printer. And the base of a machine will be constructed using aluminum profile. And above the aluminum profile, as you can see on the axis, there will be some basic steel rods. And as you can see on each axis, there's one stepper motor, the most commonly known as the NEMA 17 stepper motor. And in between, there's the resistance wire. So in terms of also, this is a partial schematic diagram. This is a partial schematic diagram which shows the CNC shield being placed on the Arduino Uno. So this CNC shield will turn the Arduino board into a CNC controller to be able to control those 3 stepper motors, namely those 3 axes. So there's the limit switch, there's the power switch, there's the DC to DC converter also to be able to regulate the voltage. This is a flow chart So it shows there's this how we get the literature review, find the objective, the research question, the methodology, and the Gantt chart to plan our project with design of the models, and then get to assemble the components and write and upload the code in the Arduino, and then the testing is done. In terms of Gantt chart, this is a planning of how I started the literature review back in April 2021, and how I plan to finish the whole project by January 2022 for the FYP2, and then get the presentation done in January or February. So in terms of conclusion, so as I said before, this is the proposed system is involve the design and development of a smart CNC foam cutting machine, which will power using Arduino and equipped with a CNC shield. Okay, so this thesis, as I said, was the literature reviews has been written to be able to compare, I must say, the proposed system with similar projects. And after that, what I can say is the proposed CNC machine pattern is being brought forward here is an open source machine. This is why, for this reason, is that new sensors, new features can be added to the machine later. So the machine can be modified to do even new stuff. Okay, for example, machine can be upgraded to be able to become IoT based, and also even more access can be added to the machine later. Okay. So once all of those above objectives are completed, the proposed system can be also amended to cut. The machine can also cut over materials such as wood or even soft rubbers. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. This is a small acknowledgement. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, my supervisor. Thank you, my examiner, and my coordinator.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Tachana, any question?
Yeah. Hi, SAROUSHEN, right? SAROUSHEN.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, SAROUSHEN, right. All right, SAROUSHEN, I have a few questions. Okay, back to your objective first, right? You listed here 5 objectives. Okay, so it looks like you design and develop a CNC machine, right? And then second, you said to construct the 3D model. Third, you said to connect the components such as stepper motor, and then to control the port 1 to number 5 will be to input. I would suggest the third and fourth, I think we can retrace together, okay? Because both might you can think as one part, okay? Because you're going to use A498 stepper for the multi cutting as well. So might you can reconsider, replace, put it one. Okay, that's my suggestion. Right. The first one, second, and the last one, it should be leave it as it is, and I can see that you can 90% you can achieve. Okay, the reason I said 90% because it's more on a design and develop. So just correct me if I'm wrong. So are you going to develop first thing physical tools, correct or not? You means you're going to develop then design the CNC tools, correct, with the parts, right? Right.
Can you repeat, sir? I couldn't hear you correctly.
Okay. According to your project, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're going to develop and design, right? So are you going to develop the CNC tools separately first, and then together with the Fusion 360 software that you're going to design with the what do you call that, the image, correct? Am I correct?
Oh, yeah. As I presented my CAD model, so I intend to develop this machine as it is. So
okay, that means you're going to develop the machine separately and together with the software that you mentioned, that the CAD, right? Correct?
Yeah. So the machine, this is a model. So the machine will look like the CAD model.
CAD model, but are you going to, because if you type in CNC in the Google, we can see so many CNC, correct or not?
Yes,
okay?
yes.
But are you going to develop that part as well, physically, that you're going to develop the tools, or are you just concentrate 100% on the CAD model on the software Fusion
No, I will
360?
develop physically. This is my objective.
Okay. That means you're going to physically develop and together with the Fusion 360, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm correct. So okay. Okay. That looks very challenging. Solution. I really appreciate that, but I don't want to touch the first objective because you are confident. So all the best to develop that part. Okay. I really appreciate on that part. Okay. That side. Okay. Move on with your comparison
Sir,
with the
before we move on, can I ask you something? Because like you said about the fourth and the fifth objectives, it's you told to put it together. Oh, okay, but it's like it's different.
three,
Like
three and four. 3 and 4.
oh, okay, okay, sir. Okay, I get it. I get it. Okay, okay.
Not five. Not 5. 3 and 4 might you
Okay.
can rephrase together.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
sure, sure.
Okay. Okay. Another one, Suresh, when I'm looking back at your literature, okay, in the thesis you listed so many literatures, right? But in the slides, I think you picked up that your preference literature, right?
Yeah,
Okay. But when I'm looking back at your literature, most of the literature they only use 2 axes and I guess 3 axes. Okay, X, Y, Z. There's some author used, another author used X, Y only. Correct? Am I correct?
yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. So you are proposing 4. That means X, Y, Z, and then testing. Okay.
No,
So
no.
is there
I
any
propose 3 axes also.
X, Y, Z, and the last one is testing, right? You mentioned that in the thesis.
No, no. It is only 3 axes.
It's a result. I mean, after test, then you submit the result. Correct or not? That's a part, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. Okay. What makes special that you want to put that number 4 like that? Because we compared to other authors, they came out X, Y, Z, but they didn't, they incorporate with the submission results. So what makes difference? What's special with your project?
So my machine, I want to also include 3 axes, the X, Y, Z. And then the fourth, I think you're mentioning in the methodology testing. Testing, what I mean by testing here is to test the machine and see if we can like produce by move the axes and produce the object, mold the object, cut the form, you know?
So are you proposing that earlier what do you call literature they are not incorporate the results or testing part? Is it 100% sure?
Like by the comparison with other models, what I say is they had like high they had complexity a lot, you know, and also high cost. So what I want to present is like to build a machine with a lower cost and also reduce the complexity by doing it simple.
Simple and producing the result as well compared to
Yes.
other model. Oh, okay. Okay, there's another one. Why you are choosing A4988 microstepping, but why you are not using DRB8825? That is giving more high maximum supply, right?
I saw what this one is on the costing also. It's a bit cheaper, and also it's quite good to use.
Okay, that's so no worries, no worries. Just want to check because there will be a lot of you normally go for something which is more special one. So that's why I'm just wondering, is there anything, any drawback on the
And also
DRB?
the comparison between the DRV, I check it, and the A4988 is A4988 uses lower power supply, voltage supply. Sorry.
Okay.
So we're
So
trying
that's
to reduce the voltage so that we can like control the temperature also for the wire.
all right. So at last of your outcome will be on the physical tools together with the Fusion software that you might we can see something which is more producible, something we can see clarity of the cutting image, and then the easy that everybody that easily can deliver the results. So that's your final outcome, right? In FIP2.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, okay. It's quite challenging, and I really appreciate and okay, all the best. So just reconsider the comments I said, and then you can good to go. All right. Thanks.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Tachana. Okay, next we move on to Nomi. Nomi, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Nomi?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon to the examiner, Dr. Rohala Sahak, my supervisor, Dr. Fatima Auda, lecturers and friends. My name is Numi Jusad and the topic that I have chosen for my final year project is modeling an IoT-based car parking management system using ESP8266 and ultrasonic sensors. These are the topics that will be covered during my presentation. Abstract. The figure that I have included here is the graphical abstract of this car parking management system. The rapid production of vehicles and their usage in recent years has led to a severe issue of finding vacant parking spaces, and this issue occurs particularly in modern cities. This significant problem worsens especially during peak hours and on weekends. Therefore, developing a car parking management system will assist drivers in finding a suitable parking spot for their vehicles. This project aims to create a model of an Internet of Things based car parking management system. By installing a sensor node on each parking space, the car parking management system can monitor the state of each slot using IoT. The sensor detects the parking slot status and sends it to the central node server controller. The node MCU collects data from all sensor nodes and uploads it to the server, where the user can check the parking status from anywhere using the IoT Gecko website. Problem statement. Cars have become an essential component of journey mobility in this era. As the population grows, so does the number of vehicles, resulting in several new issues. One major issue would be a lack of parking spaces. Next, many parking lots require drivers to use the initiative to find an empty parking lot. When compared to working days, the parking problem worsens during peak hours and on school holidays. Another issue is that more fuel is consumed while driving around the parking lots looking for a free spot, resulting in higher carbon dioxide emission. And finally, poor planning by developers may be a contributing factor to the lack of parking spaces. The figure here is the circuit diagram of the car parking management system. Moving on to the research objectives. The first objective is to study a car parking system that provides information on available parking spaces. Next, to model a prototype of a car parking management system using a microcontroller and sensors connected to a cloud server via IoT technologies. And finally, to test the effectiveness of a car parking management system using IoT. The figure that I've included here is the block diagram of the car parking management system. Hypothesis. The development of an IoT-based car parking management system makes it easier for drivers to find a parking space. With the usage of ultrasonic sensors, the system detects any available parking space. The ultrasonic sensor also detects whether a vehicle has arrived at the gate. The DC motors serve as gate openers. The gate will only open if there is a parking space available. This system reads the number of available parking spaces from the cloud server and updates accordingly. The system then allows users to search for available parking spaces online from any location. Research questions. The first question is, what are the benefits of our country can obtain by implementing smart parking system? Next, how can the smart car parking system be maintained in good working order? The third question is, what can be the possible challenges that can be encountered during the modeling of the car parking system? And finally, how much time can be saved when searching for parking using this system? Literature review. In this section, I have included the best 5 papers, and now I will discuss the important findings of the best 2 papers. The first one would be by Nadip Ali from the year 2020. The system updates the parking data every 10 seconds in the cloud. The system is primarily concerned with a management system that assists drivers in discovering parking slots in a specific parking district, while also meeting the needs of both parking providers and the drivers. According to the second research paper by M. Ramesha, when the gap between the car and the parking slot is less than 8 cm, the state of the parking slot will be displayed as parking filled. The parking slot is considered empty if the gap between the car and the parking slot is greater than 8 cm. I would say the both papers relate to my project because there is no option for prior booking and the system does not have a mobile application. These are the 3 more papers that I have included. Methodology. A car parking management system is a system that may be employed in any parking lot. Each parking slot will have ultrasonic sensor to monitor the presence and absence of cars. Furthermore, ultrasonic sensors will be installed at every parking area's entry and exit gate. The DC motors work well with the ultrasonic sensors to operate as gate openers. The Omega 8 microcontroller will be used as an essential component that will act as a counter to keep track of vehicles entering and exiting the parking area. The system will be set to a condition where the gate at the entrance should only open when there are free parking spaces. The parking system can be accessed via the IoT technology. The IoT provides wireless access to the system. It enables the users to keep track of the available parking spaces by simply connecting to the internet and checking via the IoT Gecko website. The flowchart. So I've included the flowchart of the entry point and the exit point. So I'll start with the entry point. When the system starts, the ultrasonic sensor starts sensing and the driver opens the web page and checks. If there is available parking space, the green LED will be on and the web page will show there are available parking spaces. Then the gate will open for the cars to enter. And when the driver parks, the parking slot is occupied, the vacant space is reduced by 1. If there is no parking available, the red LED will be on and the web page will show that there is no available parking space and the driver has to keep looking for free parking space. The exit point. So the ultrasonic sensor starts sensing and the available parking spaces increases by 1 when the car leaves the parking slot. And the gate will open so that the driver can exit the parking area. Moving on to the preliminary result. So this is how the proposed model will look like. The ultrasonic sensors will be placed at the entrance and also the exit gates. So each parking slot will be equipped with 1 ultrasonic sensor. There will be also 1 green LED and red LED at each parking slot, and there will be 1 LCD at the entrance, which will let the drivers know which parking slot is available. And this is how it will look in the IoT Gecko website. Okay, the Gantt chart. So now we are having the final presentation. So we are left with the submission of the final report. So after this, we will be doing the FYP2 during the next semester. Conclusion, during this final year project 1, I have researched on an IoT-based car parking management system. I have studied many research papers on IoT-based car parking management system and smart car parking management system. a basic understanding of hardware components and other elements was obtained that can help me to start my final year project 2 without any problem. During this time, a budget was also made to build the prototype of the car parking management system. As the future work, the idea of developing a reservation-based parking system using a mobile application is planned. That is all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Numi. Okay, next I would like to invite Dr. Rohila. Okay.
Okay. Hi, Nomi.
Hi, Doctor.
Yes, no. Okay. Can you look into your objective?
Yes. Should I share my screen?
Yes.
Oops.
I think your second objective. Yeah, let's look at your thesis here. Your objective to study, you replace with to analyze. We cannot use study because objective normally, for your information and for others as well,
Okay.
to create the objective, you have to come up with something that you can evaluate later in the results. If let's say you put to study, then how do you want to determine whether you are really study on that parking system? So there's no measurement on how the study here. So perhaps you can change to analyze.
Okay, to analyze.
To analyze, and then to test, you would change to evaluate.
All right. Okay.
Yes, yeah, I provide in your report, in the comments.
Okay.
Okay. One more thing. Yes, your literature review is really relevant, so no big deal on that part. But then look into methodology. Here you can explain the methodology, but why in your report you didn't explain? You just paste with the flow chart without any description. Seem like Erin. You just paste the flow chart, the flow diagram without explaining each steps. Can you go to the flow chart?
All right, Doctor.
This one,
Mm-hmm.
the entry point. If let's say parking available, there's no parking available. So the driver keeps looking for free parking space. Seems like it's same as when you are not implementing the your proposed parking system. Can you elaborate on that?
So what I meant here is if there is no parking space available, okay, then the driver has to keep looking for the free parking space or have to wait until someone gets out from that parking area. Because for this project, I am doing like only 4 slots. It's a simple one. I'm gonna do it in 4 slots, and then the driver has to wait if the parking is full.
Seems like no point to use your proposed system. Yeah. So perhaps you can make some amendment. You may discuss with your supervisor.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. What is your limitation of your study, Nomi?
For time being, I'm doing just like these users can only check the available parking spaces. That's all. But what I've studied in that literature reviews, like there are mobile applications, and then website where we can book in advance, and then head to the parking area. So mine is just that you check and then we go. That's all.
Because last time you
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
present in the in the progress report. That's why I still remember. That's why I'm asking. So what happened to that
I'll
propose?
try to include that feature in my FYP too. But the mobile application, since I'm gonna use that IoT Gecko website, I think I'll just include the feature first. The mobile application maybe in
Later lah
future.
that one. I mean for the booking part
Yeah.
later lah after you implement the basic one. I mean like.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all for me. All the best.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Rohila. Okay, next we move to Shalini. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Dr. Rohila, my supervisor, my co-supervisor, Dr. Anwar, and my examiner, Mr. Tachana. So this is my final year project topic and my final presentation, which is an investigation into smart healthcare monitoring system in an IoT environment. So these are my contents where I'll be talking about the abstract, problem statement, scope of study, research questions, hypothesis, and a literature review, methodology, preliminary results, discussion, Gantt chart, and conclusion. So moving forward, this is my abstract, where in the there are long waiting hours at the hospital, which is a traditional medical checkup way, where the emergency patient doesn't have enough time for like medical checkup and stuff, so they end up like without getting checked, they end up like dying and stuff, especially for cardiac patients, and patients are not well taken care of by the doctors. But if we use IoT based patient monitoring system using Raspberry Pi, there is a good connection between the doctor and the patient, and they can interact through social means. So firstly, the sensor record all the values of the patient. All these values are processed in the Raspberry Pi. If the sensor value is greater than the threshold value, a notification is sent to the doctor. Likewise, the doctor can prescribe the medicines and give feedback to the patient immediately, and all the data is stored in the database. So this is the abstract. So moving forward, this is my objective, which is to implement an IoT-based patient monitoring device that monitors the temperature of the body, pulse rate, and blood pressure. To measure the patient's pulse rate, temperature, and blood pressure using Raspberry Pi, to store patient's reading of the sensor in the cloud database with the help of Raspberry Pi. So moving forward, this is my problem statement. So when a patient visits a doctor, there is always a long waiting line even in the emergency room to get checked. If security is not provided to go through the data by the doctor, anyone can prescribe any sort of medicine to the patient. So this is my problem statement. Likewise, if we have authentication and of user ID for the doctor to enter as well as the patient or a caretaker to enter, we can change this. And for emergency room lines and stuff, we can interact through smartphone devices where all the data is stored and the doctor can give feedback. So that is another way to overcome this problem in the world scenario now. Moving forward, this is my scope of study. So in the scope of study, IoT-based patient smart healthcare device helps enhance the health of the patient by staying at home. Blood pressure, temperature, pulse rate, and ECG are the sensors that are used. The sensor is linked with the Raspberry Pi model B+. The Raspberry Pi connects the reading of the patient with the database. The proposed system is detailed with its methodology and key components listed, along with its block diagram, circuit diagram, and cloud computing diagram, which we will see in the future PPT. And the flowchart of the research activity along with the project is elaborated. Then the preliminary data is added with the budget of the project fully described. This project is then concluded with a Gantt chart for FYP1 and FYP2. So moving forward, these are my research questions, which are explain requirements in getting an accurate reading, evaluate the possible challenges and limitations observed during the use of different kinds of sensors like heart sound, pulse rate, and blood pressure, compute the message to the doctor, get sent in the exact time, calculate the possible ways to have accuracy with the different measurements, explain if sensor collects the data and sends it to the cloud database. So these are the research questions. So moving forward, these are my hypotheses. So more parameters can be sensed and tracked as sensors become available as biomedical trends evolve, improving the ability of the wireless detecting devices in biomedical field. This device can be portable and easy to use. There can be addition of different sensors like ECG sensors, SpO2 sensor, accelerometer sensor. So these are my hypotheses. So moving forward, these are my literature review where I have taken 5 papers, and as my supervisor and co-supervisor mentioned, I have taken the one best paper, which is Naik and Sudarshan, Mr. Naik and Sudarshan's paper of 2019. So the title of the research paper that I found was the best was Smart Healthcare Monitoring System Using Raspberry Pi on IoT Platform. Here he has used a lot of parameters, sensors to evaluate the patient, like patient's body temperature, ECG heart rate parameter, blood pressure, electrical activity of the heart, rate of movement, and the equipments used are temperature sensor, BP sensor, heart rate sensor, ECG sensor, acceleration sensor, and Raspberry Pi with GSM, where the doctor and the patient can interact with text messages, and a notification can be sent to the doctor. So the important findings in this paper is that a doctor can review a patient's medical history and recommend medicine and prescription adjustments. Patients with special IDs and passwords have access to their records. So the limitations where data transmission is contingent on the presence of a smartphone built up. So the research gap was built up a website for the data transmission. So in all these parameters, we save the power dissipation, and this is a very relevant paper where all the parameters are used, and where we can interact with the doctor and patient in a very easy medium through different parameters, so the doctor can be updated with all the happenings of the patient. And it is very relevant in today's world where there is lack of different kinds of things in the hospital as well. And in other papers, I couldn't find so many parameters like I could find different kinds of parameters in this paper. So the doctor and the patient can also interact very nicely due to the GSM module. So that's why I found this paper very relevant. So moving forward, to the methodology. So the initial task of an IoT-based smart healthcare monitoring system, according to the workflow, is to collect the data from the patient via sensors. So after they collect the data via sensors, the value is sent, all the data is sent via the Raspberry Pi and linked to the database, so that the data is accessible to the doctors who can use it to obtain patient information and write appropriate prescription. This indicates that if the value of the sensor is higher than the threshold value, a notification will be sent via the user application to the physician and the caregiver, and the physician and caregiver is even sending an alert message. So this is a very good way for the doctor and the patient to interact, and as well as the caregiver. So the software tools that will be used are Raspbian OS, Python language, embedded language, and wiring Pi. This will help us in interacting with the Raspberry Pi. So this is my methodology, and moving forward, these are my flowchart where there is start, sensor initialization, where all reads all the sensor values from the sensor nodes, and if the sensor value is greater than the threshold value, alert message is sent to the user app. If the sensor values are transmitted to Raspberry Pi, sensor data are stored in a file. Establish internet connection. Is the connection a success? If it is a success, then upload the file to the cloud, then retrieve the data by the user app, and then stop. Then this is another flow chart of our research activity where there's literature review, designing model, evaluation, and direct detection of any errors in the device. Does the project fulfill the objective? If it doesn't, we have to optimize and refine it, or else we proceed and make the final prototype and the final report. So this is my flow chart, and these are my block diagrams, cloud circuit diagrams, and cloud computing diagrams. So moving forward, this is my preliminary data where all the quantity and price and the total is given, and all the hardware components are listed. And moving forward, this is my discussion where the project discusses the main objective of this proposed system is to establish a smart health device depending on the robust IoT tools with the help of microcontroller known as the Raspberry Pi Model B+. The sensor nodes on the patient's sides are to monitor the patient's symptoms. Blood pressure, heart rate, temperature, and blood oxygen are the used sensors. The data is collected by these sensors and sent to a server. The server will then process the acquired monitor data and make it available to the user, such as cloud, doctor, and caregivers, in order to detect and monitor health issues. So this is the concluding sector, where in this FYP there is more research on the theory part where all the costs of the hardware components are covered. The proposed smart health monitoring system is briefly studied. This summarizes how Raspberry Pi works in connecting the sensor with database. Likewise, in depth with the FYP1 project and learning about the basis of the hardware and software tool. Eventually, after the completion of FYP1 report, we move forward to FYP2, where we will assemble all the hardware components utilizing the software tool. This framework of FYP1 helps us develop the prototype of this report we are working on. The cost has already been separated for the development of the prototype, and this is the Gantt chart. So everything is elaborated in the Gantt chart, where we've made the research proposal, research presentation, research proposal, report submission. So thank you so much, sir. And I have covered all the components from my contents, which is abstract, problem statement, scope of study, research questions, hypothesis, literature review, preliminary result discussion, and Gantt chart and conclusion. So thank you so much, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Salini. Now we open for question, Mr. Stachana.
Yeah. Okay, Shalini.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Well, okay. I have only two questions. Okay, when I gone through your reports, so all objective is clear. Okay, and your literature review also is clear. Okay, your methodology also clear. But I just concern the major portion. Okay, the major portion is when I see the literature review and your what do you call your proposal, the project you're proposing now for FIP1, and then you're going to extend to FIP2. For me, I can't see the differences. For example, when I see the literature review and the patient monitoring and all the literatures, all the authors were done earlier, and what you're focusing now, the area, I think is similar. There's no slight difference. I mean, there's no uniqueness. For example, uniqueness, something which is yesterday there's FIP2, one student did that. It's collaborate with the SVM algorithm to mapping up what you call the threshold to find out the image patterns, something which is incorporated into the project. Okay. So, but now, according to your the outline is very clear. Okay, objective is very clear, methodology is very clear, but I cannot get what something your contribution compared to the literature review. That's the only major concern. I believe you can consult with your supervisors. Okay, what are add on some different some unique features, something you can add on into your project in FYP2, an application part, something which is a difference from other previous author. You got my point or not?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Which is, you know, if you go through the literature review, you will have, you see, we will not used to, you see our heart rate, what do you call, blood pressure and the heart monitoring. See, every literature, they're doing the same thing using, okay, the platform might different. Some they're using Arduino, some they're using Raspberry. Okay, something, okay, fine, that's fine. But what our focus, what our contribution to this project? I'm not expecting advanced, at least a small portion. That's something you can add inside. Okay, which is as I said, there's the one student approached and tried the attempt, something which is incorporate the SVM algorithm into it, mapping the three show something. So that part, something you can consider any area in the hardware side or software or something, or monitoring part or capturing or image visualization part, something you might consider. Talk to your supervisors and just add on that part. That's only my concern. The other thing is very clear. All right, all good to go. All right, and one more thing, what do you call it? Shalini. Okay. All right. So you're using what cloud open source? Is it IoT open source ThinkSpark or ThinkSpeak or what? Is it your client or anything
ThinkSpeak.
for the storage?
Thinks.
The cloud storage one. Is there any special software is something in your mind, or still haven't figured out?
Maybe I'm planning to do by ThinkSpeak, but like I'm still like thinking.
Okay, no, all right, no worries, no worries. Initial stage, I know that. I'm just asking, what is any plan, anything? Share your thought. Okay, all the best.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tachana. Okay, so Salini, please take note all the information from Mr. Tachana. Okay.
Sir.
All right. So next we move to Suraj. Are you ready, Suraj?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to my supervisor, Dr. Ahmad Anwar, my second supervisor, Mr. Satya Dev, and my classmates. My name is Suraj Ashwath Rajiv, and I am presenting my FYP1 project, modeling a security patrol robot using Arduino. As you can see in the graphical abstract, the user is using a laptop to connect to the internet, where the Arduino Uno is connected via the Wi-Fi module and L293D motor driver shield, which then powers the robot for its movement. The problem statement of this project are that the performance of IR sensors has been limited by their poor tolerance to reflection of light. No object recognition at the date zone area. Detection results are dependent on weather conditions. Sensing reliability of IR sensors decreases with moisture and humidity. IR sensors can sense IR radiation from the sunlight, which can cause correctable or non-correctable errors with the output. If an analog IR sensor is used, signal losses will occur at the amplifier circuit, and PIR motion sensor requires a long calibration time, sensitive to thermal radiation, insensitive to very slow motion or objects in standing mode. The scope of study that has been highlighted within this project is that the implementation of microprocessors and sensor modules and the integration of a Wi-Fi module falls under the field of microprocessors and microcontrollers. The infrared and ultrasonic sensors handles intruder detection and obstacle avoidance. The Wi-Fi module connects to the internet for the database link-up, and the servo motors enable autonomous movement. The recorded video will then be sent to a server-linked database that has upload web, history, and real-time info web services that utilize the knowledge of server-side programming. Remote users can access the previous data that has been created by the robot on previous surveillances for analysis. The data may be classed into area checkpoint, time of detection, and intruder images. The last scope would be that the user client can view the recording via their personal computer or laptop, which can be created with the in-depth knowledge of computer networks. The database will then be connected to a single server that will have video processing functionalities via any software that can be used that is available on the internet. The research questions proposed to this project are: number one, evaluate if the security patrol robot can solve the problem of intruder detection in blind spots or dead zones. Second one is to explain the possible challenges that can be encountered during the modeling of the security patrol robot. And the last question is to describe the other improvements that can be applicable to enhance the efficiency and capability of the security patrol robot. The hypothesis of this project answers the research questions unless proven otherwise. The hypothesis is that the more factors can be sensed and tracked with the sensors of the security patrol robot as it becomes available or as trends evolve or improve. Obstacle detection, pathway discerning, and intruder detection of the robot can be seen as the robot senses the direction given to it through the controls and responds by moving in the given direction. The third one would be the physical body of the security patrol robot is designed to be integrated into a small compact size. The last one would be that the security patrol robot can be used in many places such as industrial and military locations and various other places as well. So these are the best 5 literature review papers that I have gathered throughout my entire FYP1 research process. So, and the best paper that I have been able to use and relate to is the 5th paper, which is the development of a low-cost and path-free autonomous patrol system based on stereo vision system and checking flags. So the research design of the paper is that the robot has independent patrolling without path planning, checking, intruder detection, and wireless backup. The components of the system are stereo vision system, radio frequency identification, as well as the Wi-Fi module. The important findings that were discovered in this paper were that the robot searches for possible paths using depth information. It follows the detected intruder, takes picture, and uploads in real time. It also approaches detected inspection checkpoints and signs in electronically via the RFID or the radio frequency identification. And when all patrolling checkpoints have been completed, the surveillance ends. However, the limitations of this project is that the camera does not have a wide range of viewing and capturing. Not only that, I've also discovered that this system can be applied into a system of an all-terrain surveillance robot. So this is the overall methodology as shown in this flowchart. So the robot starts its patrol and it goes along a patrol path, set patrol path, and for its detection purposes. So if there's an intruder detected, it proceeds to the processor and sensor, and if it does not, the patrol resumes. And if the checkpoints are confirmed, it sends to the user client, and if it does not, the patrol resumes. And if all checkpoints are confirmed, it is accepted by the user client, and if it is not, the patrol resumes, and once all checkpoints are confirmed, the patrol ends. So for the more in-depth explanation of processor and sensor, so this is what happens when this is within the process of the processor and sensor, the process flow. So when the patrol starts or resumes, the recording begins. And then the ultrasonic sensors are activated as well as the infrared sensors. So when the ultrasonic sensors are activated, and if it detects a sound, it goes to the location of the sound. And if it does not, the patrol resumes. And if the infrared sensors detect anything, it goes to the location. If it does not, it resumes its patrol. And if there's an intruder detected, the camera module snaps the picture and records the data, and it sends to the user client. So for the user client, however, the image and data received from the processor and sensor will then proceed to the review of the received information by the user himself or herself. Then the user will then input the data received into the database, and if the information is sufficient, the information is then sent to the overall user, and if it is not, the received information will be reviewed again, and from there the user implements his or her decision. So this, the preliminary result consists of the expenditure of the project. So the grand total comes to 77 ringgit and 30 cents, which is inclusive of all the parts of the robot. And the reason why the software is completely has no charge is because the Arduino Uno software is available online for free. So this is the discussion of this overall project. So the applications of robotic engineering include manufacturing, surgery, aerospace, military, and healthcare informatics. So when today robots are becoming part of daily life, and these elements protect us from all kinds of danger. Related organizations or companies may hire additional security personnel to conduct night patrols, but smart patrol robots can be more reliable because if programmed correctly, the robot will not feel tired, lose focus, or forget to complete the round. The design of surveillance and security robots must first understand the expected operating environment and design data collection of various modes of protection. The infrared or laser transmitters and receivers are commonly used in security reasons, used in homes, shops, offices, etc. to achieve efficiency and reliability. And recently in the class of machines, deep learning models can learn the hierarchical structures of features by constructing high-level features from low-level features, which creates a resulting system that can compete in both visual audio recognition as well as object recognition. So this is the Gantt chart for FYP1, which I have modified to follow with the current process flow of the subject. Currently, we are in July in the research final presentation task. So the conclusion of the project is the proposed security patrol robot is briefly studied and examined, and continuous research into the theoretical parts of the project will be done until the best suited outcome is achieved. The report summarizes how the Arduino system integrates the usage of infrared sensors and ultrasonic sensors for obstacle detection and avoidance, and the ESP32 camera module that has Wi-Fi capabilities to record the surveillance pathway of the location that it is placed in. The security patrol robot will be controlled remotely via Wi-Fi and will be able to autonomously be sent around the surveillance area for monitoring and identification of intruders by its soon-to-be developed functionalities. My future plan for this project would that be experimented with multiple workable methods and functionalities to increase the efficiency of the project and tackle possible weaknesses, which would in turn increase its marketability for possible mass production. So finally, a big thank you to my supervisor, Dr. Anwar, for guiding me throughout this FYP1. I will answer questions regarding my project after this. Thank you all and have a great day. Good afternoon to my supervisor, Dr. Ahmad Anwar, my
Okay, thank you, Suraj. Mr. Satya.
Yes, sir. Suraj, right, why are we using two different types of sensors?
Sorry, sir. The infrared and ultrasonic. Okay, so
Yep.
the infrared is obviously for the object detection. So this is in turn when, like, say, if it detects the intruder, and the ultrasonic is to go to the place if, let's say, the intruder makes a sound or maybe drops something or anything. So the sound detection is covered by the ultrasonic, and the actual detection of the person is done by the infrared sensor.
So right, if there is anyone is right moving there, right, it could be anything, right? It could be an animal, a dog, a cat, or it could be a man, right? Can you differentiate?
Yes, sir. That is why the whole idea is the surveillance is done via recording. So when the robot detects something, the recording doesn't end or anything. It still resumes, and the robot will go to that section and record whatever is going on. So, for example, if it detects maybe it sees in the recording, it's detected that maybe it's like what you say, maybe it's a person or a cat or anything. It will still record and it will capture images, and from there on, when the user client views it, they will choose to decide, okay, maybe this is just unnecessary, don't need to report it in. And if it is a person or someone who is not from the office or whatever, they can carry out their whatever action that they plan to do.
Okay, I understood, right. So it is right. I understood right now. Okay, now let me ask another simple question, right? So whenever right, your robot detects some sound right by its ultrasonics, right, receptors,
Yes.
it go to that particular place, right?
Yes, sir.
And then it will records right afterwards what will happen, right? I'm not asking, right, is your robot is self-navigatable, so it will come back to its actual position from where it moved to that place and then
Okay, sir.
resumes its
So
patrols as usual
okay.
by following its actual pattern?
Okay, so the thing is, what I'm still not very sure is like whether, like as you say, so that's actually a good question. I'm not sure that once it goes to a certain section, it will actually return to its normal path, because what I am planning to do is include possibly include RFID detectors. So we put like let's say, assuming that the office is in a square-shaped office, for example, in that room or something. So at each corner there will be
So you want to put
an
some
RFID
constraints on your
detector.
project?
Sorry, sir.
You want to put some constraints, right? Something like a some what you call them as right operating requirements.
Okay, sir. I will add that.
No. What I'm saying is generally we should not put any such constraints. So it should be very general purpose.
Okay,
You cannot, yeah. Otherwise, you can do something like this, right? In that particular place, right? You can put right a different a number of radio tags. Each is emitting a different frequency. Okay. So it will know right what is the place from which right it deviated its path, so that it can go back to that particular point. It's like a checkpoints. You understood my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Understood.
So right along your as usual path, that is the right routine patrolling path, you put all the checkpoints.
Yes, sir.
And each checkpoint you designate by using a different radio frequency, or you designate by using some GPS coordinates, right? Whatever that may be the case. So you know that right from which point right you went to that whatever the place that you want to visit, right, or verify, and
Yes.
so that you can come back to that actual process. You understood my point?
Yes, sir.
That you can do. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that is the only thing, right? So right, your robot is simply right navigating, right? So what I understood is it is navigating in the predefined path. Okay. And if it detects right anything, right, it will go to that place and it will report the videos to the monitor, right? Whoever the person is supervising that entire thing. So he will make all the decisions, whether he's an intruder, a known person, right? Everything will be made by that person, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Right. Nice. So, so it is. I think right. Your robot patrols as predictable. That's the only thing, right? Otherwise, everything is okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
And how you can address, right? Would you like to address that predictability of the robot path?
But like as you said, sir, like possibly I need to make some adjustments in terms of maybe putting, like as you also recommended, like different frequencies, or maybe my best bet is to actually like maybe instead of using RFID, maybe put like GPS locators, so that let's say once it goes to that section, it will autonomously go back to the original predefined path.
Yeah.
So that's what I would make adjustments. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Satya. Okay, next we move to Saeed. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mohamad and I am a computer science student. This is my final presentation of my FYP, which is development of web online system for outcome-based education. Starting with the OBE process overall. So in order to develop a system for a particular point, we need to understand the point in details. So my system is to develop an outcome-based education online system for any higher education institution or a university that can implement it and use it. The outcome-based education system process overall is starting with the point number one, which is the program of the study, the program education. So here where we set the vision and the mission and the also goals for the all program for like 3 or 4 years. So that the student need to attain and achieve. If we go further step to break this to a sub label or a level, we will have the individual courses where we have the course units, and each course unit will have some questions that like, for example, we have understanding, analyzing, creating, remembering, many categories. So in terms of question of like understanding, is the student or can the student explain the ideas, the concepts after we give the course? Analyzing is can the student distinguish between different parts? Creating is like, can the student create a new product or a point of view? After this, we will need to map these course outcomes
to the BEO. So here, after we have a question, every question is linked to course outcome. So after this, we have questions. After we have the course units individually, we need to evaluating these by linking them to the assessment. Assessment can be different between each course and each the other. So, for example, there are some courses have labs, some courses that doesn't. So, in general, there will be like quizzes, assignments, test labs. Assessment can be projects or other thing depends on the course itself. And here we need to apply like a yes or no decision. So if the student outcome attained, like he attained the outcome of the course, so he will pass to the other step. Otherwise, he need to repeat the assessment. So we need to keep in mind that the unit of measure here is the student. After attaining the assessment, after the outcome, we will get the result, and the result would be the course outcomes, the percentage of the course outcomes, the program outcomes, and the gratitude attributes. And what I mean by gratitude attribute is the skills and the understanding that students achieve in the long term, and they can apply after the graduation. After all this done, the student can successfully attain the compliance certificate or the graduation. So this is the OBE process overall. In terms of our system, the MOBE system V2, this is the actual workflow that we actually focus on. So in terms of the workflow of MOBE system V2, it is a start. The user need to log in, and the user here can be the lecturer, can be the HOD, but we most focus on the lecturer itself. And then we have checking for the password if it is correct or not. If it is yes, we go to the next page. If no, we need to verify and begin again. So here we need the lecturer need to fill up the course information such as the course code, the course name, and more, and need to link each CLO to one BLO only. And here the system side, the system will assure that every one CLO is linked to one BLO only. If not, the system will ask the user to fill up the course information again and will not allow to move to the next page. So after the linking CLO and BLO depends on the course matrix, the user can view the next page, which is the fill up assessment information, and then link these assessment into the CLO. Assessment, the test, the assignment, the quizzes. So, for example, I have 5 assignments and 3 quizzes in the particular subject. So each assignment and each quiz, how much weight from the total coursework it carry. So the lecturer need to fill up these assessment information and how many apply, how much weight they carry, and then link these assessments into the CLO. Here again, the system side will make sure that each, like the total assessment is 100%. If not, the system will not allow to go to the next page. And if it is yes, then the user will go to fill up the student information, such as the names, how many students are there, semesters number, and many more. After the lecturer fill up the student information and the assessment information, after these, all it will be the system part and the system side to work with. So the system will calculate and generate the student grades and will generate a report for the CLO analysis, like how much or how many students achieve or pass the CLO for this particular, like we have CLO 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe in the CLO 1 they attain 30% or 40%, and in CLO 2 they gain 60 or 70. So it will be some visual analyzing for the CLO overall for this particular course for each individual student. Same goes for the BLO analyzing, and it can also give you the advantage or the feature to generate a student report for every student, for all students, and the logout and the email. Problem statement is that some universities still that using the manual system such as Excel worksheet, and this will be a time consuming and require more work force, and also it generates some unnecessary duplicate files, and that will be sometimes frustrating and annoying for to work with. And also these kind of files, it can sometimes get messy. So in order to solve that, we come up with the system to develop an online system that it is very comfortable to use, and making a proper tool that save the lecturers time and effort and solve the issues that or the challenging that lecturer go with in the manual system, dealing with the manual system. And then the scope of the study, for the new MOBE system is very extensive in terms of the academic management system. That means the system can be applied in any higher education institution. It can be university, it can be a college, it can be a higher high school, and any education education institution can be applied with this system if they are using the still using the manual system and they want to upgrade to more automated and online system. And then in terms of lecture review, I have reviewed some papers, and most reliable one for in terms of framework, or in terms of how the OBE workflow works and the process of it. This is the first journal I put in the table, and this one, it helped me in to understand like the main component of OBE and how to attain the course outcome and the BO attainment. But the drawback there is in this journal, there is no online system and the implementation, and also there is only theory documentation and no specific examples, only general speech. So I took the, like as we say, the blueprint from this journal, and I developed and I changed some methods and to adapt with my online system. That's for my lecture review paper. This is the Gantt chart starting from the beginning in the earlier of this semester. These the stages that we have been doing, and by now we are finalizing the documentation of FYP1. So as a conclusion, we will obtain a more relaxed management atmosphere. Also, we will find a comprehensive solution for the manual management system for managing the students' assessment, and also improving the quality of the mapping and managing OBE and the student assessment also and evaluation. And we will be achieving the solid unified system that can be sharing the data and the files between lecturers more easy and convenient than the actual fixed files, just like the Excel files. So that's all for me. Thank you very much. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mohamad. And
Okay, thank you, Saeed. All right, so Dr. Fatima, any question?
Okay. Hi Saeed. Mohamad.
Hello, Miss.
Okay. I actually don't really have um, anything on this. I think it's a very good work. It's very clear. The direction is very clear. So well done, both student and the supervisor. Okay. Apart from the comments, some rephrasing that you might have, you might want to do in your thesis. I have a suggestion on the objective. Can you open your objective slide?
Okay. Can you see my schemas?
Yes. Okay. So these three objectives, these are actually the online system, right?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. So this actually can be in one objective. Okay. So it can be considered as one objective. For example, okay, to develop a secure and systematic online system for OBE, right?
Yes.
Okay, to improve lecturers' efficiency, for example, these three can be summarized in one objective. Okay, so this objective you can achieve this in objective. You can achieve this objective in chapter methodology. So the first objective can be to study the OBE. So that is part of your research. Okay, in order to come up with this online system, so you need to know the OBE, right?
Correct.
Okay, so this can be your first objective and you will achieve this objective in literature review chapter. Okay, the third objective is to test the system. So you need to you need to discuss with your supervisor on how do you test the system, and for this objective you can achieve it in the result chapter. Okay, this is my suggestion, but you can consult with your supervisor. All right.
Okay.
Another one is your research question. So I've seen that your research question is only around the OBE the OBE, the understanding of OBE. So maybe you might want to include research question on how are you going to develop the online system. Understand?
Actually, Miss, I have two parts of the research questions. The most majority about the OBE, because as you said now, regarding the objective, as the first one, I need to study the OBE. So that's why, because I am in the initial stage still, so my majority of the research questions about the OBE and like aspects. But I have around two questions in the research questions about the online system and advantages and disadvantages between the online system and the traditional one.
Which one? Explain the advantages. Oh, okay.
The last ones.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. One more thing. I did not see the flow chart just now that you show here. I did not see it in the thesis. So you might want to add that in your thesis.
Yes, Mrs. Every flowchart I have made in the presentation slides, I am going to add to the report after this.
All right. Okay, I think that's all from me.
Okay.
Well
Thank
done
you very
again.
much, Miss. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Fatima. So next, I would like to invite Shalini. Shalini, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm VETHA from Bachelor of Computer Science. Today, I'm going to explain about my final year project, which is Online School Administration and Management System. Okay, these are the table of content that I'm going to explain about. first of all, it's about the abstract. So here you can see in the abstract, every day help us to finding a new technology. So students are constantly aiming to decrease human works and also work replacing with the automation system. So here you can see some school have start to use this technique to make their work easier, and this online system is completely advanced and managing all aspects for the school life, and the system is bought to intelligent and easy to use, and also it exists in management of large duty as well as data for records to teachers, staff, students, and so on. And also this system to develop and modify the administration software that can be resistant in the becoming a new brand. Okay, next about the introduction. So from the introduction you can see the aim of this project to find the student information, searching notice, libraries, books, and bringing complaints from the students. And by this online system, the teachers will get chance to know the students' problem personally by getting complaints from students, and also can be verified the administration, and also by logging this provided credential, the student can access study materials, libraries, notice, assign teachers, and also this information can be shared with the authorized user. Records can be searched in the report and also can generate fastly. Okay, next is about the problem statement. So here you can see the most school have a hard time because they don't have a good platform to communicate with their staff, students, teachers, and so on. So it can be a since it's can be a distinct issue that continue to develop in school between the teachers and schools. It's next about some parents are really busy with their own works instead of looking their children's studies or future. So example, like they don't have time to children's education status. That time this online system will help them to find any payment of their children's education or their result and study status by this online system. Next is about the scope of study. Mainly to provide a user interface as well to group management, and also admin as a duty to complete the control over this entire system, and also include updating and modify their existing system to ensure the data security and user verification. For other user role, they may have access to different modules and also background of data for information transaction. It's maybe based on their various systems like data and history. Okay, from this research question, it's about the process of online system which will help or solve the management problem. And second was to describe the challenges will overcome the during process of online system, and followed by improving the method of online system and also allowing all school to function as a part of flexible and integrated education system. And the last one is about to explain the accuracy and security the system can be provided. From this hypothesis, we can see the administration management system and the layout of this management system, which will make it more easier to resolve the issue, and also provide a standard academic approach for students, school students. It may arise a result of lack of system to handle the student process, such as students' profiles, attendance, results, and so on. Okay, these are the best 5 research papers that I found, which is similarly same to my project. So from this overall 5 research paper that I can see that the systems can increase stability of education management as well the known as the ability to share and apply instruction resources information, and also can store information of students and the employee, which means workers from the schools, and concern for focus on data entry and collection rather than data transfer or analysis. And this management system is favorable for impact on school administration management, include to improve the information accessibility and increase the school resources, reduce the manual work, better time management, improve report quality, and so on. And also as a major part to understanding to how to build or operate effective administration management system, which will suggest for efficient or management information for the function in different way with major techniques to develop independently by department of each school, like science, engineering, business, and so on. From this overall 5 best research paper that I found that similarly same to my project is development and application of management system for a student, because the management of information system is implementationally technologically as continuously matured as information grown in the management system. So if to develop and manage the interval activities must be established to manage this information system that can be compatibly with your own features. And the college and university is a management system to importantly component and determining their level of college administration. Okay, next is the research methodologies about the each characteristics works on this online system. So here, as we know, admin can create a user password, new students and teachers username and password, and also can track the keep track of staff and student attendance and create subject, course, libraries, notification, teachers in charge of certain tasks. For administration, is students can be managed by updating, adding information about them, and students' complaint also available to view. For teachers and students, the characteristics seem the same, which can view the personal attendance, leave details, mark students' attendance, exam marks must enter after leaving the timetable, and in this exam marking system for teachers, to allow for teachers only. For students, can view their personal details, notice from schools or respective teachers, and can check their attendance, mark sheet, exam date, and so on. Okay, here for the expected result, I've mentioned the objective as a future plan, because by creating the system only we'll get to know which plan is successfully done and which one is still on pending. So here the objective to implement the statistical function based on the student data, keep record of students' attendance, class assignment procedure for each students, teachers, and also entering grades for students, improve the system in order to reduce the manual work, and so on. Okay, from this Gantt chart, you can see the activities that are done and still on pending, which is for FYP1 and FYP2. And the light orange color is the work which I have completed successfully, and the light blue is still on pending, and the work is going on in the future. Okay, from this overall project that I can conclude, it will be a good management to increase the level for this system with more development, and also it can be develop the best features of school administration software after observing its demand and benefits, and also it's help to school in meeting to achieve their goals and reduce the manual works, errors, and tracking process and increase the efficiency. And yeah, that's what we said. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shalini. So now I would like to invite Miss Aparna.
Hi, Shalini. You can hear me?
Yes, Miss.
Shalini, I see the same issues that I had pointed out during your proposal presentation. See, the intention of your FIP should, looks like that you are trying to improve the efficiency of an online administrative service, right, of a school.
Yes, Miss.
That is the intention, right? So I don't see that problem being addressed anywhere. Even when I look at your objectives, you are just listing down the functions of your system. See, the thing is, FIP is a very important milestone, okay? And it shouldn't start looking like like an assignment. But what you're developing is just a system which is already there, but there is no improvisation in your system. Though in the abstract you are saying intelligent system and easy to use, and then you're also throwing in words like advanced methodology and all those things. Even the abstract is like all over the place, but I don't see like all that being addressed in your objectives. So even the abstract, you should be very, very clear cut. You should just have like 2 sentences, like a brief introduction about the system that you're planning to develop. And in the same abstract, you are looking at the problem that is there already and how you are addressing by proposing a technology or a system for it, and then a conclusion. But your abstract is like, all over the place, which I had pointed out earlier also. There's no like clear cut that I can see and see, oh, this is what the system is going to do. You understand that, Shalini?
Yes, yes, clear, Miss.
So for that, you need to look at some systems and see, because your intention is improvising. You're not trying to replicate a manual system, right? You're not going to change from a manual system to an online system. There are some online systems and you're trying to improvise those, right?
Yes.
So you have to look what exactly is the problem there. And then you have to see, because you're saying things like intelligent and all that. So how your system would be an intelligent improvisation on that system. So identifying that problem and addressing is very important, which I still see missing. And last time also I had mentioned that, the research objectives should not look like functions of what your system is doing. It's so many of them are there. So you have to, be very, very clear cut and come exactly to what you want to do with the system. So you have identified a problem in your problem statement and you want to address that. So for that, you have to give some aims to your project, which is basically how the system that you're planning to develop will overcome those problems that you have seen or, which were faced in the previous systems. And your objectives should be steps that are taken to achieve those aims, which should be achievable and measurable, of course. But here you have listed down some 6-7 objectives. So there is still not a clear-cut identification of a problem and a clear-cut listing down of the objectives. So I still see that there is, it looks more like an assignment to me than like an FIP project. So either you have to, work together with your supervisor and see how you can improvise this, or how you can, come up with something, which you can address as a problem which is there in the existing systems, and how you're going to solve it.
Okay.
Yeah. So even in the report, it's like all over the place and not a very well compiled report. So I'm going to put a feedback there in every section wherever I can, and I'm going to send it back. But just see how you can, work on that feedback and try to, correct the report.
Yeah, sure, Miss.
Okay. Yeah. Dr. Anwar, what would you say? Because these are the same issues I had earlier also mentioned in her proposal.
Okay, what can I advise to Shalini? Okay, Shalini, I think you need to consult with your supervisor and please have a clear cut, okay, a clear research objective. Okay, I think just select the best three only. No need to put all the so many objective, okay, for this
Yes, that's
FIP.
what.
Okay, I think the minimum is around three is okay for FIP. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, I think you need to redo again your reports and you will have a special submission to Madam Aparna. Okay. So I will announce the date later when you can submit the revised version. Okay. So that's mean before this I told that you need to submit 26th of July, right? But due to the some limitation that I found based on your report, so maybe early of that. Okay, early of 26, maybe around 2024 or 25, something like that. Easy for Madam Aparna to double check your correction. Okay.
Okay, Miss.
All right. Okay. Any information I will inform later if I have some question to ask you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. I think that's all, Madam Aparna. Anything
Okay.
else? All right.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Next, we move on to Dinan Raj. Are you ready, Dinan?
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. So today I'm going to present for my FYP1 presentation. So my FYP1's title is Implementation of RFID System for Improving the Graduation System and Attendance System in MIU. So this my content. So my contents will be abstract. Then the chapter 1. In the chapter 1, there has like introduction, research objective, scope of study, problem statement, research question, followed by the chapter 2, which is literature review, chapter 3, the methodology, chapter 4, the results, and chapter 5, the conclusion. So first, the abstract. On my abstract, I have included a graphical abstract, which I have shown two situations and a solution for the situations. So in the abstract, a student attendant and the convocation system event for Manipal International University graduates are currently present utilizing the traditional approach and Manipal International University. Students' attendance is tracked using a thumb scanning gadget or a punch card system. Using this method takes a long time and it's expensive. Introduction. So in this introduction phase, I have included an analytical frame based on my research. So RFID technology is employed globally and its impact our daily lives in substantial. Other areas where RFID can be employed include product logistic, product monitoring, product maintenance, product safety, and payment processes. Many governments in both rich and developing countries are attempting to apply in various fields, including tracking manufactured object, currencies, and patient, as well as payment system security. RFID widespread deployment is protected to have a massive influence on the energy efficiency, transportation system, and healthcare. So we could be outbreaked if we try to implement this technology, RFID technology, in the educational field, as some of the country haven't yet tried using this RFID in this educational field. This is my research objective, sir. So my research objective is to implement an RFID system via Arduino. All system information will be integrated in a phone apps for attendance and graduation purpose. To verify the model using a card reader technology with a voice out system with detailed data. To evaluate the model in small function to ensure it will run smoothly without any errors. Scope of study. So this is my design framework, sir. Preparing a design phase of a student's login and logout system using a web HTML, JavaScript, and CSS to build it. Database management system set up as a database management system using SQL for attendance record and also the convocation details for the students. Set up and implementation, setting up the preparation of the prototype system and wait for the testing phase. run prototype. The prototype is being tested in various phases before it undergoes the final real-time testing phase. So this is my problem statement. So my problem statements are this: the traditional technology will consume more time to get a proper order of student in line. It causes many misunderstandings between two parties. The traditional method could cause high costing power and requires more manpower to get in graduation run smoothly. Students are able to cheat on their attendance. The possible missing list is students' right to behave in justice regarding the presence and absence. It is not possible in case of loss of lack of list. This is my research question, sir. What is the purpose of implementing this method? How important is this system needed to be used in educational field? What are the costs to build the entire system? This is my hypothesis, sir. So the design implementation of voice recognition in collaborate with the RFID card must be tested in a various testing method before it undergoes a real-time testing to get an accurate success rate which will not fail in a precious event ceremony, and the system must be get adopted by our additional system globally and in the national-wide organization level. This system will be a user-friendly system which has focused audience on the user and purchaser to make the use easier. So this is my literature review. As my literature review, I have based on the first 5 best literatures papers or authors I took in to research before I implement this project, sir. So the above 5 are the best reference that was used in this research field of this project. All the above 5 are the various range of users of RFID and Arduino in other fields. The researchers' papers are very helpful during the process of the project. It had very good hints on how the use and the benefits of the RFID and Arduino board. So this is my research flowchart, sir. The research flowchart 1 is based on the graduation system, which goes through the software development phase and all the phase. The research flowchart 2 is based on attendance system, which has the flow of how the testing goes through until the initial stage until the end stage, sir. So my methodology, this is my random methodology RFID survey which I did. So the blue represents the population use of RFID, the orange represents the benefit of RFID, the gray represents the cons of RFID, and the yellow presents the others of the RFID technology, sir. So this is my workflow chart. So my workflow chart 1 is based on how the work flows to a rough figure way, and my connection flow chart 1 is the rough connection for the Arduino, MP3, and other components, key components for this project. This is my Gantt chart. So my Gantt chart, I have labeled it which will be executed in FYP1 and which will be executed in FYP2, sir. So first we can see the orange. The orange color represents the process of introduction, which has already implemented in FYP1. The yellow will represent the process of design research, which will be executed in FYP2. Next, the blue will represent the duration taken for the time, completion, literature review, and methodology, which is implemented in FYP1. The gray represents the process of implementation, which will be executed in FYP2. The black represents the duration to get the results of the project, is also executed in FYP2. The green is represent the completion of period of report writing, which also will be executed in FYP2, sir. So the conclusion is the rapid use of voice recognition with RFID card in collaborate with Arduino board will make the system self-organized in the globally educational field. It will be a successful system in the field and has a lot of university staff will be benefit from the system. The university organization will be ended up saving a lot of money from introducing this modernized graduation system. Our hardworking MIU staff can take a good time in spending their time in organizing other duties for the event. Future plan of this project will be the project. Upon hitting the success rate, it will be demoed at one of the educational field expos to get our target audience, which will be all the higher educational institutions. This project will globally break through in implementing the global or even the national wide. all educational systems should be considering to use the system in all of their organization. So as we can see, the main part in introducing the system to an higher education system is to save their costing and also their manpower. And also this would be an outbreak as RFID is used in various field, but haven't yet get introduced into the educational field. So if we implement this real-time use in MIU, we would be the first university using this RFID technology in our graduation system. Now, only in the graduation system, but also in attendance system, as most of the universities are using as a QR code and our normal traditional signing method, the thumbprint scan and all these things, but yet they haven't used this RFID system in only national-wide. I'd see as globally they haven't used this RFID system in the educational field. So if we implement this, MIU will be the first university using this RFID technology, not only in Malaysia, also in globally. For example, most of our card, it's easily RFID reader implemented. So it don't cost much more high compared to other projects. So I think that we could implement this project in Manipal. So we have a great future, sir. That's all, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Denan. All right, Dr. Rohila.
Hi, Denan.
Hi, Miss.
Okay. Let's start with the objective.
Hold on, Miss. I just share my screen.
Yes, Denan, you can share your screen.
Yes, Miss.
Denan.
Yes, Miss.
You are proposing two systems, right? Not
Yes,
one,
Miss.
right?
Yeah, not one, two.
Attendance systems and graduation system.
Yes, Miss.
So, different thing lah. I mean, you are using, for both systems, you are using RFID
Yes,
with
Miss.
the Arduino board. Am I right?
Yes, Miss.
So why do you conduct the survey just now? Just now you show me the survey results.
Okay, Miss.
Okay.
The survey first, I took a random survey from one of my research papers. Then after that, I rebuilt the same survey by passing the survey to others in order for them to get in touch how they find RFID in their daily lifestyle or even their working space and others, Miss.
On other application, not attendance, yeah?
Yeah, others also, Miss. I just took a random use of RFID, not only in attendance, but also just their random use.
Okay. The second objective is to verify the model. How do you want to verify performance, perhaps? Maybe you can rephrase with the third one to evaluate the model. How do you want to evaluate? You have to evaluate the performance, right? The performance of the proposed system.
Yes, Miss.
That one, you can adjust that one, make correction. Okay. Hold on, yeah. Your literature review. You only mention in brief on the literature review.
For which part, Miss?
Which part? Literature review. This 5. Cannot see lah, so small. Hold on.
Is it okay, Miss, now?
Yeah. So all these literature review with the same application area, student attendance?
Student attendance, one of the area is the face recognition using RFID also, but in different fields, Miss. So I took that one because I think it could be useful for in future if you want to insert the face recognition features into the same product.
Oh, so for the literature, for the researcher young and D here, 3 and 4 here.
Yes, miss.
What's the difference between yours proposed system?
Okay, the third one is the tracking system. Is for after we use the RFID, how do we track the students accurately attend the class or without attend, if not like absence. And the fourth is the accuracy of RFID in attendance system. For example, how long per student is indebted to tap their card in order to the data record their attendance.
Come again? Sorry.
The fourth is like how accurate the RFID card is taken tap and how long it takes for students' attendance to get recorded into the data system.
But still they're using the RFID card, right?
Yes, yes.
To track, to register the students' attendance.
Yes.
One more thing in your report, you didn't say anything about student attendance. You only mentioned about the attendance. I thought for the staff as well.
So far I was attended only for the class attendance, miss. I never go generally into the staff attendance.
Okay. Can you look into methodology?
Can miss?
Methodology part.
Okay, miss.
Second.
The second one is the
Next.
flow.
Yes, this one. What is a connection flow chart? That one.
Okay, miss. The connection flowchart actually was like very simple connection flowchart I had to do because I couldn't find most of the component when I was redrawing the diagram. So this connection just shows rough how the Arduino and other components work together.
Okay. How about the database? You didn't mention anything database system that you're using in the methodology because there's scope. You already explained in the scope of your work. But here I can see only on the hardware part.
Yes, miss. I overlooked the database part. Yes.
Later you can make some amendment lah. That one.
Sure.
Okay, hold on. You must make sure that you are clear with the methodology. It's really important. Later, it's really difficult for you to figure out. I think that's all because this I already jot down in your thesis. Later you may refer. Okay. That's all.
Thank you, miss.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rohila. Okay, Denan, please take note all the information come from Dr. Rohila, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, so next, the last presenter is Abdi. Abdi, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
respectable lecturers, and fellow students. Good morning or good afternoon to you all. My name is Abdulaziz Abdulrahim Muhammad, and I'd like to present my final year project final presentation to you all. My proposal will be the research proposal for the creation, development, and deployment of an e-commerce website for the sale of affordable wristwatches. We'll move on to the abstract. So what is e-commerce? Well, e-commerce, which in its abbreviation, which is e-com, is the use of the internet to conduct sales and purchases. So basically, it is the place where users can, buyers can meet sellers and exchange services and products for money. So this project will be the creation of an e-com website to sell wristwatches. The website is created to take care of some problems that are faced by previously created e-commerce websites. And the name of this project will be Crown Wristwatches. So let's have a brief overview of how the transaction and how the whole process takes place. So basically, it's in the platform. The users, well, i.e. both the buyers and the sellers, can meet and exchange goods and products, services. So how it happens is the buyers avail the merchandise to be sold to the user through the website. So the users, or the buyers in this case, visit the website. After visiting the website, they have a look at the products that are available to them through the website, available to them by the user, by the seller, sorry. So the desired products are then selected from the merchandise list by the buyer. After that, the buyer makes the payment through wire transfer, and the customer then inputs the delivery address of where he'd like the product to be delivered to. And based on the address, a timeline depicting the day and the approximate time is shown to the customer for them to wait for their products to be delivered. Moving on, we'll have a look at the problem statements. This website will hopefully tackle 4 problems. The first is the state rise of platforms selling counterfeit merchandise. So there has been some previously created e-commerce websites that have been selling counterfeit products and passing them on as genuine. This website will be taking care of that problem, the first. And the second is the unregulated exorbitant pricing of the merchandise for sale. Has also been a problem that will be taken care of in this website. The third is the lack of clear images of the merchandise being sold. This happens in two forms. The first is the availability of 2 grandiose pictures that have nothing to do with the real product being sold. And the second is the lack of clear images of the product being sold. And the fourth and the last problem statement is the lack of a variety to choose from, which confines the user to a small number of options. This website also will take care of these 2 problems. So we'll move on to the research objectives. So this project aims to create the following: to offer buyers with genuine products. The second is to avail the buyer with the merchandise at a fair price. And the third is to offer a fast, quick, and efficient delivery time to the buyer. Moving on, we'll have a look at the significance of the project. So this project's significance is this project has 2 significance. The first is to offer a simple to use website for a prospective buyer. And the second is the doing away with the necessary layers and complexities known to e-commerce websites. So basically, this website will be created in such a way that it will be extremely user-friendly to everybody who visits it, and it will do away with all the complexities known to e-commerce websites. Moving on, we'll have a look at the methodology. So to bring this website to life, we'll be using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, PHPMyAdmin, and MySQL. So how it will take place is the website building blocks will be created with the use of HTML. So it will lay the structure for the website, followed by the use of CSS, which will be used to add colors and aesthetic look to the website to break the monotonous look of the HTML building blocks. The third is the use of JavaScript, which will be used in the making of the website dynamic and responsive to allow for the quote-unquote communication between the website and the user. The fourth is the PHP. PHP will be used in the validation and verification of the input data. The fifth one is the PHP MyAdmin, which will be used to manage and manipulate MySQL, which is the last component that will be used in the creation of this website. And MySQL allows for interaction between the user and the database, which allows basically it allows for the retrieval of the data from the database and being available to the user. And we'll have a look at the relevant ecom publications. So these are the first five. These are the best 5 papers. The first one is the 209 publication by Zitken, Becker, Lauren and Chava, Jalasi and Enders, and the last one is the Balos, the most recent. And we'll have a look at the grant cut depicting the timeline of the project. So this is the grant cut. The project hasn't yet been concluded, and it will hopefully be concluded before the end of February. And that's all from me. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you, Abdi Aziz. Okay, Madam Aparna.
Hi. Okay, to begin with, what the title of your project, Abdi? It still says proposal for the creation. Are you still proposing?
No, ma'am, I'll make amends.
You have to remove that word, right? You put there research proposal for the creation and development and deployment. So sounds like you're still proposing. Your title should be, complete. It shouldn't, you're not proposing the title.
Okay, ma'am, we'll make amends.
Not even recommends, it's just a title. It should reflect the contents of your study straight away. And it cannot be too broad. You cannot say e-commerce website and all that. It should straight away reflect the content of your study. So first thing is you have to retitle your title. Okay, and second thing is development of a website cannot be really treated as an FIP project, Abdi. I had mentioned last time also when you proposed, and I also mentioned in the, the report and all those things. You have to come up with something a bit more challenging, which can be parked as an FIP project. This still looks like an, assignment to me.
We'll try adding some features, like a chat box.
Have you had a chat with your supervisor regarding your project? Have you had a discussion?
Yes,
and does he approve of this?
Yeah, with some minor changes.
With some minor changes, because
like adding a chat
FIP is a very important milestone, and it shouldn't look like an assignment. There is an that is an issue that you need to address, and then you have to improvise on that issue through your FIP project, which I really don't see happening here. It just looks like a development of a website.
We'll add some complexity to it, madam.
With a discussion with your supervisor. Don't do things on your own. Have a chat with your supervisor and then see how you can improvise this. And your abstract is also, it's so broad and it's talking about everything. You don't have to talk in details about e-commerce, about wristwatches. No, it should be very specific. There should be just 2 sentences about the system that you're planning to develop, like a brief introduction. 2 sentences about the problem in the existing systems or the websites that you have seen. And then 1 sentence to propose a technology or a system which is going to address the problem that is there in the existing system.
Will do, madam.
But you have written like a story on e-commerce, on wristwatches and all those things. So definitely your title needs to be looked at. Second thing is, as you mentioned, you need to bring in some complexity so that it stands out as an FIP project and not an assignment.
Will do,
work on your abstract also, because most of the components gets covered there. And finally, your objectives. These definitely you have to reframe, because to offer user with genuine products, to accord the chance to buy genuine products at a fair price, these don't even look like computer science FIP project objectives. They don't look very relevant to me. So for this also, you need to have a discussion and fix and finalize this. Because
Will do.
at this point, I don't feel a very, as I just mentioned, it doesn't stand out as an FIP project to me. So either think of a, new idea or try to bring in some complexity in this itself, or make an app or something like that. But definitely this can't be, parked as an FIP project. And website creation and setup, database organization, no, all this doesn't work as an FIP project. And even in your methodology, you're talking about software requirements. That's not correct. So the only thing I can suggest for you is that you have to have a chat with your supervisor and see how this whole thing can be changed so that you can call it an FIP project and not an assignment, and you're graded accordingly. Otherwise, we have to, really rethink on this.
Will do, madam.
Yeah. So, Dr. Anwar, that's it from my side. Whatever you suggest.
Okay, thank you, madam. All right, Abdi.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you need to take serious, okay, for this FYP. Okay, otherwise, I will not pass you for this FYP one. Okay.
Will do, sir.
All right. So I think your case similar to Shalini. All right. So I will give you some. Next announcement will be made for both of you when you can submit the revision for your reports. Okay, but before that, I need you to discuss properly with your supervisor. So Mr. Tachana is here, right?
Yes, yes, I'm here. Okay, first of all, I didn't agree, I didn't approve the project. Okay, I don't know why he's claiming that it's approved, but claim that
You
this is
said
not
that.
appropriate. Yeah, I
You
claim
said that
this
you
is not.
suggested that I should add some complexities.
Yes,
You didn't say I should
yeah,
change the whole project, which is akin to agreement, right?
yeah. But it is not from initial stage. I told him that it's not appropriate. It's a simple. It looks like very simple project. I told him many times, and he's not taking it serious. He said from coordinators approve, and he came a lot of stories. So I don't want to discuss here. So my side, I told him so many times, it's very simple. You need to look for some unique features. For example, machine learning techniques. I see web is okay. We can still can take it as a web oriented. It's okay, but at least you are. I told him that add on some new features. Okay, but he still want to do a same concept. So I'm not be a part of this. But if Dr. Ahmad, if you're ready to follow my guideline, I will ready to supervise him. If he still want to come up with excuses, I think I need to pull off. That's my simple. That's, okay. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tachana. So Abdi,
I just said that right now. You just told me to add some complexities. Didn't I just say that right now, sir?
okay, I leave it you to discuss directly with your supervisor. Okay, so please discuss properly. Okay, please respect your supervisor.
I did, sir. And he's just saying that I'm making
Yeah,
things up.
I understand. I understand that. Okay, so now I give you the opportunity. Okay, another option to repair your work. Okay, so if you can, please follow directly what the instruction made by your supervisor. Okay.
Will do, sir.
All right, that is good. Okay, I think the rest instead of Shalini and Abdiaziz, so I think you can get your correction by latest by this Thursday. Okay, so you need to submit before 26th of July. However, I will announce another dates. Okay, another dates for you to submit your final reports. I still thinking of that. Okay, but the final date is 26th of July. So that's mean after you have done your correction, I will send back again all the reports to the examiners to double checks. Since if I have not received any correction, and I will update your examiners if I get the information that you are not submitted the revision. So that's mean you will lose marks. Okay, you will lose some marks. Okay, some mark from the total of FIP 1 evaluation. Okay, is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All clear, sir.
All right, I think that's all, and thanks for joining this session. Now already 5 p.m. And I think that's all, and goodbye and bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.